Hello, my dear students. Today I'm going to talk to you about more issues related to the SAT, to the digital SAT test, which is the related to the grammar part. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about the parallel structure. These parallel structures, for sure, guys, they're not going to ask you in the exam how this like sentence parallel with another. How can we make, for example, like a parallel constructions with another, let's say, part of another sentence. No, this one is not. They're not gonna ask you for such a thing. The whole thing about the parallel structure is about what, guys? How can we find, or how can we decide the right answer? How is this possible? Look at this, guys. Look at the definition first of all to that parallel structure is that repetition of a particular. Let's say it says. I'm sorry for that, guys. I'm sorry for that. Let's just choose another, let's say. So it's like a repetition of a particular grammatical construction. So basically, I'm talking about grammatical constructions. For example, if I have a noun, this is like, for example, what I mean by the parallel structure. Now, indicate that multiple ideas have equal levels of importance. Now, if I want to move on with the definition here, I'm not going to focus on it. I always look for the example as the best evidence for me to understand how does it look like if I say, for example, the parallel structure. Like, for example, here we have, it says the use of a parallel constructions make writing clearer and easier for the readers to follow. For example, if I would like to identify how many ways for the parallel structures, like I have two ways actually for the parallel structure. This first one, and list of 3 items and of like in either sides of conjunctions, that's what we're going to focus on later on. But for example, if I say, and list that consists of 3 items. First of all, if I would say, if I have 3 nouns, this is like means for me the parallel structure. If I have, for example, 2 gerund consecutively, I would say this is a parallel structure, and verb, that's what I mean by the parallel structure. Now, for example, consider the questions below. If I would like to look at this question, guys, look at it, guys, fast. And now let's look at this example here. If I say, for example, for sure it started with the noun, and I should have another noun. After I finish the first item, I should make sure that to have a comma here, as usual. If I finish with the second item, I should have another comma. And the last thing, guys, if I start with the noun, and if I, for sure, without even thinking what the next, a group of words starts with what, for sure, it needs to start with the noun. And with the modifiers after, like in the when circulation from. So this way, guys, we call it after the noun here, we'll have modifiers. Now, for sure, guys, if you want to consider the option here, if I say to accumulate, this one does not make sense at all because it does not start with the noun at all. It does not start with the noun. They accumulate, no. Accumulating, it could be. If I say accumulation, that's the best answer so far. If I say why this one is the right answer, not this one, because I did not start from the first place. My listing here, or the list of words started with the ing word. And this case, guys, the best, let's say, the best way to start my third, let's say, like a group of words should start with the noun here, which is accumulation. If I have, for example, if I have ing at the beginning of each phrase, it would make sense if I have to say, for example, see. But let me just remind you guys, why do we need to study this thing? This thing can help me out, guys? To decide the right answer, that's all. Now, if I would like to have another question similar to that one I just have discussed with you. If I have this way, for example, and I have what can lead all to the creation of, for sure that I need a noun here with the modifiers. If it's not, for example, I should have, for example, a list of phrases. The same example here, it was repeated here again. Why? For the sake of making sure if I have a whole subject is missing. A whole, let's say, compound subject is missing. How can I decide it? For example, if I have it, guys, this way. If I say, look at it, guys, if I have changes Runoff, that's right so far. But if I have, for example, accumulating, does it make sense? That's what doesn't make sense here. If I say, for example, accumulating, but what is the ing form at the beginning? That's what this like missing. This is unparalleled. If I say changing, for sure I need to have another ing form. Do I have? No. And this one is like this one is an ing, but why this one cannot be acceptable? Why this one cannot be correct? Because it started with what? It's actually started with not with ing form. This one started, even though guys here, that is actually ing, but this one is actually not started with ing form. Let's say, let's consider, guys, the C here, number C, changing, having so far, right? And I have to, this one does not make like this make the group of words unparalleled. Now look at the last one here. It says changes, which means a noun. A runoff, it's a noun. And accumulation, this one's not right. So D is the right answer here. Otherwise, guys, any other, let's say, option here, it has actually, it was missing like it does not actually match with other, let's say, forms that I started with at the beginning of like each phrases here. Now let's look at another example here. It's I have another form, the same example, but I actually started these group of words with different forms, which is like talks about healthy marine environments. All that what we have discussed so far in this example, like it has different forms of beginning the noun phrases here. Now look at this, guys. It says changes. Oh, it's actually, this is like, it has to do with more, but not with the form, what actually started with, it has to do with the, let's say, punctuation mark. It says if I started, for example, if I started with the, let's say, a semicolon, it should be what? A semicolon here. So this one is a semicolon, this one is a comma. No, it can't be this way. It says here a comma, I should continue with a comma. This one is a comma, no, this one is a semicolon. This one's wrong. If I have it the same way, guys, I have what? If I have, for example, this way, it can be right here, it can be right, but I want to make sure that I need what? I need to have it as semicolon. This one is like, both of them, like, it's actually, it should be here as semicolon. If there's like a comma here and semicolon, the next one, this one does not make sense. So this one can be, guys, right? This one is like, D is the correct one. Why? Because I need what? To have a semicolon here. I started with a semicolon and I ended up with a semicolon. That's right. But what if like I have like a comma here and comma here? It's correct. It's correct. But I just have like one of the options, like it has, for example, a comma and semicolon. This one, in this case, does not make sense. Other ways, guys, whenever we have like a semicolon, I should keep on doing the same, like the same pattern, and I have semicolon and I have semicolon. This one can be correct. They just assume that I have started with the comma and then I ended up with the semicolon. This one does not make sense at all. Now, let's just see if I have another, let's say, parallel structure here. The answer, parallel structures with conjunctions. What if I have, for example, only two items here? Let's say, for example, here we have another definitions. For sure, this is like reminds of what? This one reminds of like and, or, but. Although these questions are fairly straightforward, you must consider the entire sentence because the answer is likely to depend on the information outside the blank. How is this possible, guys? Look at that. If I have, look at it, guys. If I have, for example, are able to use. If I have are able to use, clear the body language here, and what I'm expecting to have. I have what? To infinitive form. So I need to expect that I have what, for example, the other part, I should have what? Infinitive form. Since I have to infinitive form, I should have after and, in order to make it as a parallel as much as I can, I should have it as what? As infinitive form. Which one that actually from A, B, C, and D, like it has like an infinitive form? For sure, it has what? A is the infinitive form. Why? In the first place, I have to say infinitive form because I started with what? 2 infinitive form. And for sure, guys, I should have what? As infinitive form. Why? Because he said what? To use, blah, blah, blah. I should have what then? And alter. That's the best, for example, that's the best we can do about if I have 2 infinitive form. For example, if I start my sentence ing form, playing in the, let's say, in the backyards, I should have and, let's say, watching in the, for example, watching outside the courtyard. So if I say, for example, ing, I should continue, guys, with the ing form in case I have to, let's say, gerund phrase. Now, that's all for the parallel structure. Let me just check if I have, no, I'm not, let me just check. Oh, yes, if we have another, let's say, parallel structure here, we have what? Whenever we have, for example, it says here what? Both financial constraints. For sure, I should have another couple of words, but I'm not going to have a full sentence here. If I have like a couple of words here, for sure, I would have another couple of sentences to make it as a parallel structure as I can. Let's say, for example, let's just consider here, for example, this one here. Does it make sense if I say the emphasis on market has increased? This is a completely different issue. This is a whole sentence. Can I just make sure? How can I make a parallel structure with a group of words with a sentence? This one does not make sense. It says here an increased emphasis on marketing. That's actually the right answer. This is actually wrong. This is like a possible, let's say, a couple of sentences, a couple of words. That is actually both. It's if I say here, both financial constraints, and for sure, and what, an increased emphasis on marketing. This is like other part of like, this is the other, let's say, option here for if I have both. Both means 2 things, not a thing and a complete sentence. That's I need you guys to know here. For sure, guys, I can't combine a group of words with the whole sentence. This one's wrong. And if I say and increasing the emphasis, no, I can't say it at all, because if I say by both, for example, hammering 1, 2, 3 and increasing, that can be possible. But it says here, but both, a noun phrase, let's say, and other group like of words that can be representing as what? That can be as a noun phrase. And which one that actually can give me a noun phrase? B. That's the right answer. Why? Because if I say financial constraints and increased emphasis, that's the best way I can make a parallel structure here. By a group of words here, a group of words and a group of words. That's all. That's everything for the parallel structure here, guys. Thank you so much. Now, we'll have another, let's say, issues that we need to discuss at the end of at the end of this book. Thank you so much.